Hello, everybody. I'm Jane Johnston.
And I'm Sean Provencher, and we're the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun.
Welcome to our monthly market update. So, we thought we'd go over some highlights for you and tell you what's happening in the Victoria market.
Spoiler alert, not much. It's it's been a pretty uneventful couple months. So tell them about it, Jane.
Well, we are following our regular seasonal adjustments. We are seeing a bit of an increase in the number of listings that have come out this month, relatively speaking, compared to previous years. And as Sean just mentioned to me, we are at our highest inventory since when?
2014 was the last time that we had more homes on the market than we have right now. So we have unbelievable options
Inventory.
when you're shopping. Yeah, there's just all kinds of different properties on the market, but prices are stable. It's not like this is really imbalancing things. We're sitting at about 6.7 months of inventory. So there's a lot for sale, but prices haven't really changed. So it's stable.
Right. So I just recently looked at the absorption rate or sales to list ratio that we were talking about, and we're just under 20%, which the real estate board is calling a balanced market. I do personally think that we're at the bottom of the market. It's been very steady, but with anticipated one or two more interest rate decreases. I think that's why we've seen a lot of sellers come on because they've been anticipating that decrease. I think the market's going to pick up. What do you think?
I think so too. It hasn't really translated statistically because the rate announcement was so late in the month for September, but boots to the ground, I noticed that things started picking up. It's interesting when you're kind of behind the curtain in real estate, we get to see things that don't show up in reports, like showing requests. And showing requests on your listings are probably the furthest in advance you can get in terms of having a pulse on where the market's trending. And across the board, I've been seeing more come through. So it's an anecdotal thing. It's not, we don't have a large enough sample size as just a few individuals and our listings to really say where the market's going, but it's interesting to see that it's so noticeable. So I do think it's going to pick up, especially with potentially a few more rate changes in the future.
Well, it's funny you say that because I think I liken to what we do to sitting on a pulse. So as the market goes up and down, exactly what you're saying, we see the number of calls happening, we see the activity on our listings. Like, so what I'm seeing is definitely, and I'm agreeing with you. We're seeing an uptick in the number of viewings. We're involved in some multiple offers. We were able to get 5% off on a, well, maybe 4% off on a condo purchase the other day. So that was only 2 days on the market and the seller was willing to take it. So I'm thinking there's lots of opportunity right now. If somebody wants to get into the market, buy a condo, I do recommend it with parking, and take advantage of the low market. Plus, how do you think the housing market's doing relative to the condo market though?
To me, I think like starter homes are the most competitive. Condos are a little bit less competitive, and I think that's probably why you're able to get more favorable terms, or you might be able to negotiate a little bit more. If you're looking at a well-priced detached property, chances are it's got other eyeballs on it as well. So move quick, try to keep your offer as clean as you can. We're not skipping any conditions when we're in multiples, so people are still doing home inspections and taking time with their financing and stuff like that. But we are seeing some that are even popping up a little bit over the asking price if they're well-priced properties. So it's interesting. Generally, though, if you were to balance it all out, most things are selling pretty close to the asking price. It's not like things are negotiating a huge distance.
Yeah, so when I look at the benchmark prices, so we get a digest every month, and you can ask Sean or myself for it. We are seeing that year over year prices actually in some parts of Greater Victoria are actually up for the benchmark price. So more in the Peninsula region, 5.2 to 7.2% in North Saanich and Central Saanich. Whereas in the core, we're seeing a bit of an adjustment. So Oak Bay's down 1.9%, but View Royal's up 3.9. So these are single family homes. I think that, it all depends on where you're looking. So you really want to examine what's happening in the neighborhood and see where your house fits in if you're selling, and then buying, really looking to see if there's opportunity maybe to get in there. What do you think about people who wait when they're looking? So there is right now this, when there's more inventory on the market, people wait. And I think that that's a mistake. Do you?
Don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait, Jane. But seriously, if you look at that, it's always something that we chuckle at, because there's the classic, like, buy low, sell high. Everyone's heard that before. And the problem is when things are lower, there's typically going to be more insecurity about what the future holds. When things are going up, 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 there's this pressure on people to jump into the market. So when markets are going up, real estate or anything, everyone feels like they need to rush in. And when markets have gone down and are sitting flat, like we have been for the past year or so now, people are scared. And it's really funny because, like, things are right now priced really well compared to where they were just a few years ago, and they've been sitting flat. There's no reason for us to think that they're going to go further down. In fact, if anything, like we said, it's been really resilient. Chances are that prices will start to go up over the next 6 months, and people just sit on it and wait. And often it leads to a lot of frustration when they do eventually purchase, because they look back on the ones they coulda, shoulda, woulda, and it's too late.
The other thing is, I find if a buyer sees a house that they like and they aren't quite ready to write the offer, but they maybe need a few days to think about it, I'm encouraging people to write, just because if you wait those few days, like 2 or 3 days, more eyeballs go on that property, more viewings happening, and you could end up in multiple offers, which costs you more money. So make the decision quickly, because I think it saves you money. I know it sounds terrible. I know it sounds weird, but it works. What do you think?
I really agree with that, because we still have conditions on our offers. So you can spend the time figuring out the things that you need to figure out. It's not like the pressure is there to 100% commit right away. All you're doing is locking in the price and the opportunity. And if you list a property, you'll get the majority of your attention over the first 2 weeks. We always tell people this, like, that's your pulse on how you did with pricing what you have for sale. But the first 2 days, you don't get a lot of people through the door, because you kind of lose the first day with it percolating out to realtor.ca and all the other websites. And then, it comes out on people's auto emails the next morning, and then they get around to calling their agent that evening, and they come on day 3 or day 4. So there's a bit of a delay in the spike. So if you can get in right away on a great property, the seller still is uncertain to what their response is, because they haven't gotten it yet. And you've got a bit of a discount on a property this week by getting in there on day 1 and still negotiating a good chunk under the asking price. That's because the seller hadn't been up for 5 days and gotten the response feedback from the market. So I think it's really interesting.
Yeah. And statistically, we're looking at single family homes over the past 5 months being really, really flat in price, but condo markets specifically have gone down. So we were at 650 in January and February, and we're now at just over 550. So there's opportunity knocking there for people who are first-time buyers in the condo market right now, for sure.
You were mentioning investors as well, and I think that's really noteworthy, because the market has been flat, and with interest rates high, even with properties having been discounted over the past 2 or 3 years, with interest rates high, it was really hard to make an investment work. But we're going to have this magical moment between now and over the next few months where interest rates continue to come down and price hasn't responded to that yet. And so that's going to be your sweet spot for getting a property and locking it in with financing that lets you cash flow as well as possible. Because what will happen is, even if the interest rates stay low, the price is going to start to move up, and it's going to crunch the gap. You won't be able to carry it as effectively. So now is a really smart time to lock in an investment.
Yeah, there's a great book called Shift by Gary Keller that talks about that. And the shift will happen quickly. So I would say, if you're not working with us, get a realtor who's on the ball, who's paying attention, who's feeling intuitively where the market is, and get out there and go look.
Or just work with us. We'll take great care of you. One other thing that I think is really important at times like these is to be in really close contact with your financial partner, your mortgage broker, or your bank. Um, Start getting rate promises from them on paper between now and the next few changes that we see in the rate environment. Because as we get closer and closer to whatever the bottom is going to be with rates, you want to make sure that you have some good offers locked in to shop with.
That's true. Yeah, and they will shop the market for you. So you're going to be able to get lowest rate plus if the rate goes down, you just automatically get the lower rate. And then you could lock in, and then also don't spend money. Don't spend a lot of money right now if you're looking at shopping because you don't want to disqualify yourself by buying a new car or whatever, and have those extra payments and change your gross debt service ratio.
So, what if you have a condo to sell? Should you sit and wait right now, Jane? We mentioned that they've gone down a little bit.
Great question. For the condo market, typically we're seeing that it peaks in the spring. So I would probably, if I were selling a condo right now, because prices are a bit lower and we're seeing large inventory, I'd probably wait for the spring, just the early spring market, and get in there before everybody else. And then you have a longer period of the market, active market to sell. On the buying side, I would definitely be buying right now in a condo. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for detach, it's a great time to do either side of the transaction. The market's been flat for so long. I don't want to tell people to hold on and wait for prices to change because we just have, it's been so long that they've been tittering around zero, just, 1 or 2 points in either direction. It's been really uneventful. Townhomes are a tricky one. It's very, very location dependent. It all comes down to how much inventory there is around you that you have to compete with. Does that sound right to you, Jane?
So we don't have a lot of inventory overall in the townhome market. So we do see a lot of variability. 2 years ago, just look at the data, we were just over an average of 700,000 and now we're at 850. We are seeing more high-end quality townhomes being built, especially in the core. There are a few in the West Shore, and there's some in Sydney. So they are a breed of their own. They're kind of a hybrid between, you get the advantage of not having anyone above you like a single family home, but you are attached on one or both sides. So there's a little less privacy than in a single family home. And I think they're a great alternative and very affordable alternative to buying a single family home. I personally think they're a great market to be in right now. Yeah, very
Bang
flat.
for your buck, you can't beat townhomes. I would say if you're shopping for a townhome, I think you should really focus on getting something that has some kind of X factor to it. It's unique. It's in an area where there's not a lot of other inventory. The core Sydney, you'll do really well. If you're in Langford or Colwood, like anywhere West Shore, what I'd try to do is I'd look for that X factor. I'd want it to be near the water. I'd want it to feel luxurious. Just find something to set yourself apart because down the road, when it comes to resale, you'll be really happy that you did that.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Anything else you want to add?
No, that was a good one. I always love talking about the market, and there's all kinds of opportunity, and it all really comes down to your specific situation. So if you're trying to figure something out, watch these market reports, but also reach out to us. We'd love to give you personal care as well.
Yeah, and we could tell you detailed information about what's happening in your neighborhood. All right, everybody, take care. See you next month.
Thanks for watching.